Greetings, comrades! My name is DimAurora, and welcome back to From the Depths. I am so excited to be home. It means I get to record things, and it means I get to stop being bad at uploading things and disappointing people. But anyways, today, here we are with the How Dim Does It series starting back up. I'm so excited right now. But today, let's start off with a little bit of background information of what the heck has gone on here. To start off, I have removed the frontal wooden layer on the deck because I decided to change what the ship type is. This is going to be a destroyer type seaplane tender, except in this case it's just going to be an AVD, but it's not going to tend seaplanes. It's going to have my little drones on it. So I am making it a little bit different. So here we have in the front, I have raised up by 2 blocks. Now to do this, I just simply took what was below it and moved it up. So if it was flat, I just put a beam there. If it was sloped, I just put it down slope. You get the idea. And right in the front, we have a 2 tall beam. So that will give us a little bit more wiggle room to do what we're doing today. Today, in this episode, more like it, we are adding in weapon systems. And weapon systems are one of the most requested, I guess, items to work with. So to start off, we need to find a good place to put our weapons system, and right here is looking pretty good. So I'm gonna head in here. I'm gonna switch to my usual, and we're going to go into new objects. Now, new objects, we have the 1-axis turret. I always do 1-axis turret unless I am doing an anti-aircraft gun. Now, we are building a specialized gun today, so I won't be slapping in any prefabs right now. So we've placed down our little block here, and, well, right now it's not going to do much. But we're going to quickly raise it up. So what I do is usually take metal blocks and then raise it up to the level of the deck. Right now, my game is lagging like nothing else, so I'm going to give it a second to cool off. Alright, it has chilled out with whatever the heck it was doing, and now we're going to start work. So on destroyers, I prefer to build the deck level guns. So the gun system is right on the deck. That means the turret is 2 blocks tall when you add the armor cap. So we're going to stop here. This is deck level right here, actually. So we're going to go 1 up and then scoot it out, I guess 1 forward. So that will give us a little bit of room to work with inside. Now we're going to head into advanced cannons. And now I'm going to get a little bit more technical here. For those of you who know what you're doing, this is going to get very boring very fast. So, here we have the advanced firing piece. This is the main component of the cannon. You always need one, and this is what everything connects to. So you usually put this right in front of the gun. So right now we're going to put it right here. So, right now it's useless. It doesn't do anything. But we're going to change that. So, we are making this a dual-purpose gun, so we need to head into mantlets. Now, in mantlets, you have all kinds of options. I would do this if you're doing like a C-to-C gun or something else. If you have a fixed gun, this is best. And you have tons of choices, but we are doing a dual-purpose gun. So, we're going to have the 2-meter tall AA mantlet. This lets the gun barrel move up, around. This has the most flexibility for vertical, so it's a great choice for dual purpose. Now, we need to head into barrels. In barrels, we have the bore evacuator here, and I can tell I'm lagging, and I am not appreciating it. Now, the bore evacuator, as we can see down there on the little tooltip, actually provides a 10% cooldown modifier. So that is fairly decent for what we're going to use it for, and I'm sorry for the lag, but we're going to have to suffer through it for a little bit. There it goes. Alright, so I always put the bore evacuator right against the gun. Some people do the standard barrels and then put this at the end for a little bulge. But I like to put it right against the mantlet or, say, the advanced firing piece, just because it gives a nice little flare to it. So, boom. Now we have a thick, I guess, end of the gun. And we're just going to take conventional barrels, which have no modifiers. They just increase accuracy the more you have. So we're just going to plop on, say, that many. I haven't decided what type of gun we're using though, so hoo boy. We're going to decide that right now. We are going to use a... Okay, so I guess to cap off, we go to this screen where over anything on the gun that says, look, you are connected to a firing piece, or we can go over the firing piece itself. This is the best way. So I always set the required accuracy to the minimum of 0.5 degrees. This just makes sure it fires only when it has a clear shot instead of firing randomly at nothing. So that's what I always put on any gun. Next, we shall decide the gauge limit. We are going to do a double barrel. So we're change that to 2, and we're going to limit this to 80. So we're going to have a dual barrel 80mm gun. Doesn't sound the best, but that's what the Farah uses. Actually, no. What does the Farah use? Farah uses whatever gun the Farah uses. I think this is actually more reminiscent of the Aurelia class. So right now we only have a 30mm gun. This is a problem. We wanted an 80mm gun. So we're going to head into here and use this wonderful object here. The gauge increase. This increases the caliber of the shell you fire. So right now we have a 30 mil, we're going to plop that down. Oh look, we have double barrel 60 mils. But that still isn't enough. However, we have run out of room in the turret. So we're going to use this. This is the splitter. Now the thick end on the right side of the screen right now is the end that you connect to the gun barrel. You always want the thicker ends of whatever you place to be connected to the gun barrel. Now the two thin ends, which are on the top and bottom of the screen, are what you connect to. So we're just going to plop this on, if I can get my maneuverability going, and now we can build up or down, but we're going to build down. So we're going to use a little thing called a gauge increase now. Another one. So we're going to plop that there, and look, now we have a double barrel 80 mil, which is perfect. So we don't need any more gauge increasers, but we're going to start needing gauge cooling. But we need to get we can use a little bit more room down here, can't we? Yeah, oh yeah, we can use a bit more room. So we're going to do this. Again, make sure that the thick end is facing towards the connection of the gun barrel. Right now everything is connected. And we're going to plop that on there. So this little piece here does not do anything. It doesn't do anything. It doesn't have increased gauge. It doesn't add any more cooling vents. It doesn't add any of that. However, it makes it so you can place more. And right now we're just going to mirror this, so boom. Now look, we have double the gauge coolers. And these decrease cooldown. I will explain the benefits of decreasing cooldown and all of that in a bit. So we're just going to build until one above. I have a reason for this, and I will get to it soon. So we have our little dinky little gun right now. It won't fire still. It does not have any ammunition capabilities, but it's a gun. And I can tell the lag is getting bad again, so I'm going to give it a little bit more time to cool back down before we get back. Off camera, I did a little bit of work, and I put on belt-fed autoloaders. Now, belt-fed autoloaders work faster than standard autoloaders, but they come at the cost of not being able to fire when reloading and not being able to reload while firing. And autoloaders, if you did not know, add in ammo to the gun system, and this is much more efficient than putting it a little input feeder on the firing piece itself, say here or here, because they use clips and they just, well, they load in ammunition instead of popping in ammunition, if that makes any sense. But for autoloaders to work to their maximum efficiency, we need ammo clips. Ammo clips, well, wonderful. So ammo clips, well, they do what they say. They add in ammo, they store ammo, all that wonderful stuff. So we are going to put an ammo clip on each side of this. And for those who are wondering, you need to make sure that this little, I guess, divot here, this side is facing the direction of the ammo clips you're wanting to place. So on this side they face to the south, on that side they face to the north. We're just going to quickly fill this in, and we'll be good to go. I'm going to do a quick rotation test after the next step, and we will see if we can actually keep this gun system. This is a miniaturized and very odd version of a gun system I use on some of my ships, namely the Sovereign and a couple others. So, it's quite effective. And we're going to quickly put on these little things. These are ammo input feeders. Ammo input feeders put ammo into clips or into autoloaders, and if it's put into an autoloader, it will store it in a clip if it can. So, we're just going to plop these on wherever we can see a little green nub. I almost called them orange. We're just going to pop them on over here, pop them on the sides too. Just make sure you get it all nice and covered with ammo input feeders. Now, for the middle, we have a special step though. We are going to stagger our little input feeders. So this one, we go there and there. Now, over here, we kind of make a little Z formation. Then we spin it around and fill in the gaps over here. So just a quick little look at that. I will do it on the other side as well. It's just evening it out. So we're going to do that over here as well, and pop. I am also just quickly making sure that it will work properly even though it is a smaller size. So there we have it. Right now we can in fact put ammo into the gun, but we don't have an ammo storage and we don't have an ammo customizer. So let me just test if we can rotate 360 degrees. We most certainly can. Except we tipped the boat a little bit. So, woo, fun. But we can actually use the system, so we're going to make it a little bit better. And by a little bit better, I mean it's going to be fantastic. So we're going to mirror here again, and then we're going to go down here. And we're going to take a gauge splitter. We're going to arrange it in the formation it was in before. And we're going to quickly fill this in with more gauge coolers. Now, you may be thinking, but Dim, what about the ammo input feeders on the bottom? Well, the ammo input feeders the autoloaders themselves on the bottom are not technically connected right now, but they are. If you connect them to another ammo or another autoloader, I keep wanting to call them ammo inputs, too much old from the depths. If you connect them to another one, they can technically connect and be just fine. So I'm actually going to put another one up here, just for a little bit more ammo capacity. So I'm going to plop this down here. That's fine. And now what we did is we took the bottom out of here, we replaced it with a little splitter, we split it off, it's coming up here now, and you can tell, if we follow this, that everything is still connected to the main gun. And that's the key. If you have something that isn't connected to the main gun, you're not going to have a gun that works. Sometimes I do that because I'm stupid, but I don't want you guys to make the same mistake. So, if we follow this, we could probably trace exactly to where it connects to the gun. So it goes through here, pops up here, goes up here, and look, we're at the gun. So you just want to make sure, if you're not fully sure, just look at the T's. They have little T's on them. And follow the center, and that will lead you to exactly where you need to go, which should be the gun. And now we have a little key feature called a recoil absorber. So these, which are here, I'm a little stupid, these make sure your gun doesn't tip your ship over whenever it fires. So we're just gonna plop a couple of these suckers on. We don't want our ship falling over. And it looks like we can put them up here. Now we're not going to put them here. Again, you need to look for where you have the little dot. If you don't have a little like green pin sticking out from something, you cannot attach it there. Say if I were to attach a recoil absorber here, look, it says not connected. If I were to attach one here, however, it is connected because it has a little pin right underneath it. So right there. But we're going to do this one above, and why one above? So we can squeeze another one in. It's best to get the most recoil out of your gun as possible. Otherwise, you're going to have a tipping ship. So we're going to actually quickly go over autoloaders again, this time with visual help. So I'm going to put it here. It is connected through this one, so everything is fine. Now we're going to spin it around. You need to make sure that that is in the same orientation as where you want to put your clip, and pop it down. Now we're going to take our little clip here, pop it up, pop it down, whatever we're talking about. We're popping everywhere. And we're just going to quickly do what we did to the other ones. So again, we're just making sure that everything works, and everything works to the best it can. So there, now we have the biggest gun we can fit in such a small space. If I quickly take control of the gun again, we can actually turn it just fine. But we're not here for that alone. We need to make sure this gun can work with AI. So, I have learned from past mistakes that it is never a good idea to put your gun directly on top of a weapon controller. You always have to put it either through a metal block, so I could technically put this on the bottom of the hole. We're lagging to hell right now. Okay, we're fine. I could put this here, and it would still be able to control this gun, but you never put it directly on top, because this weapon controller does not have much health, and let me explain what the weapon controller does. It allows the AI to connect to a gun system. Now, if you don't have one, you'll have to manual fire your guns, which isn't a problem usually, but in big battles with lots of ships, you need to be able to have your AI control everything. So, always make sure to put your weapon controller within 2 vertical spaces, or horizontal spaces, just 2 axis spaces from where your gun is. And it only has to be the turret. You don't have to put one up here. Technically, an idea is that you can put the weapon controller on your gun, and it's not a bad idea. But I never use it. I always put this on the hull. So, I can put it here, I can put it here. I cannot put it here, though. Why? Because it doesn't like doing this. It doesn't like having a cross to it. It only likes going side to side or up and down. It doesn't like doing both at the same time, so we're going to put it right here. Now, we also want a failsafe. A failsafe, make sure your gun doesn't shoot your own ship. This is basically necessary. You're just going to plop this on the side of it, and you can plop it anywhere. It doesn't have to be on anything on the local weapon controller. The weapon controller is very flexible. Now, we also need a wireless receiver. This makes sure that we can get signals from the mainframe. This is very important. Otherwise, your gun also won't work. So, boom. Now we have a system that would technically work, but right now it doesn't because we don't have a mainframe. So, perfect. We can also see that it is controlling one weapon, which is this, which is fine. That's exactly what we want. And we're just going to quickly make sure everything's set up. It is. And now we need to go into the testing phase. So I'm going to quickly get the test set up, and we'll fire away. Alright, so I have put down a ton of ammo to work with, but right now we can't use the gun still. Why not? Because we don't have a controller. Now, a controller is yet another vital part of the gun system. So we need to head back into advanced cannons and find the ammo controller. Now, the ammo controller looks really funky, and it's kind of hard to set up. We're going to get rid of those blurry lights. And right now, it looks odd, but you see that little nub? Yep, that's what we need to connect to. So we're just going to face it this way and plop it down. Alright, so now we have our ammo controller, but look, we still can't use these. We need to have an ammo customizer. So you can either have a single module or a double module. The standard comes with 2 modules, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. So I'm going to use a 10 module system, a 10 module shell. So we're going to place down 5 of these. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now we have a 10 module shell. It's just 5 standard customizers because each of them comes with 2. I could do 10 of these, but that would be really inefficient. So here we have a little UI that may look very, very confusing to new people. And guess what? It is very, very confusing to new people. I will go over shell types, but that sounds like something for the next episode. So I'm just going to quickly build these up, and I will be back once again. Alright, so I do have it all set up. As you can see in the little tooltip, I am using a frag warhead little build, and that is just fine. It does great against any target, and it's personally my favorite shell. I use it on all my ships. But I will go into that in another episode when I actually do decide to build this, but for right now, it's just a little test. So what we want to do now is scroll over, look at, whatever, just go into one of these ammo intakes here, and we're going to press Q. Now, you see this? This is the shell we made. So we're going to click on it and quickly assign it to all. Now, we have a long reloading process ahead of us, and you guys don't exactly want to see this, so we'll just watch the new ship sink for a little bit. You know how I said we had a lot of ammo? Thing is, this type of shell uses a lot of ammo. So even for this tiny gun, we need at least 10,000 rounds to keep it running, or to even load it up. So, oh boy. This is a rough shell, but it is a very potent shell, and as I can tell, it's loading up, so we're just going to let it load in everything. Sounds like it's almost done, but let's look at the stats. Now this is the wonders of testing. Now here we see that our recoil force, which was heavily dampened by these 4-meter recoil absorbers, and if you did not know, recoil absorbers get more efficient the longer they are, so a 4-meter will actually do better than 2 meters. Which is interesting, but it's the way the game works. And here we see all the stats of the shell. Now 352 meters a second sounds very slow, and in real life that is worse than a low velocity HE shell. But in this game it's actually quite fast for some reason. So that's a very good stat right there. Now we don't see the cooldown yet because we haven't fired a shell. Now this will only appear when we fire our first shell, but after that we'll be able to see it. We also have our recoil force. That is how much recoil the ship or the gun produces. Usually below 10,000 is just fine. You won't see any effects from the gun firing usually. Above 10,000 you start to have issues. Above 100,000, actually above like 50,000, you see major issues, and your ship can start to tip and capsize from firing a single shell. But 3,400 is very good. Now we see a problem. Our loaded shell inaccuracy is 0.5 degrees. Personally, I like to aim for 0.3 degrees, or somewhere around there. So even though 0.5 is still a quite good gun, it's not good enough for my standards. And this is how Dim does it, if you did not know. So, we're going to quickly get it to about, 3.75 is much better. So that will be the length of the gun. Except my OCD says that. So we're having 3.5 degrees, or 0.35 degrees. So that is a very good gun right there. We also see the effective range. Now this one is quite important. This shows how far your shell can travel before it reaches its maximum range and starts to lose velocity rapidly. And by rapidly, I mean it literally almost falls out of the sky. So, let's quickly test this gun we made. Quite proud of this gun. Let's test it out. So, as we can see, the weight of the barrels alone tip over the ship, but right now our ship is just an alloy hull. And let's fire this thing. Okay, now we see a problem here. Our little cooldown here is 0.58 seconds. That's not exactly the best, but it's not the worst. So, one thing we do need to do, however, is change our cooldown. So here we have our firing delay, and you want to time this to the number of barrels divided by the time. So 0.58 is just 29 times 2. So we're just going to scroll this up to 29 and try firing again. So let's quickly get this set up again. That sounds much better to me than whatever the heck we had before. So right now we actually have a very good gun system on our ship. And as I said, this is just a miniaturized and kind of ripped open variant of the gun I use on my flagship, the Sovereign. So if you have seen what the Sovereign can do to an enemy ship, think that, but on a much smaller scale with a much lower fire rate, all that yada yada. So it's still a good gun, but right now we have a good ship. One thing I'm actually thinking of doing is quickly seeing if I can increase this to be a 100 mil without the issues that come with it. And it does not look like it, so we're just going to keep it down at an 80 mil, which is perfectly fine. I am happy with an 80 mil. 80 mil is a good caliber for my ships. So there we have it. We have actually created a very, I guess, impressive gun for our little seaplane tending destroyer. But anyways guys, if you are enjoying this and if you did like the advanced cannons part, please let me know in the comments. I will also be doing a lot more stuff for From the Depths since I'm home now. Oh boy, it's gonna be a long time getting back into the swing of things, but I'm ready to go. But anyways guys, as for now, DimAurora signing off.